Hi everyone, I'm Nikki Adolfi and I'm here with the lovely Tina. Now, Tina has been with us for a little while and we're going to talk a little bit about one of the aspects that is quite helpful. Tina's got this brilliant idea that we're going to share today. And we've been doing the anchor course, and this video is part of the Resting in the Storm section. And we hope this is really helpful. So, Tina, tell me a little bit about yourself and maybe how you ended up with a crazy person like me.
Right. I was in court for several years, being taken to court repeatedly, and I went through a very tough time. It was really traumatic, and I got through it quite well in the end. And so when I saw the autonomy hotline, I thought it was a really, really good idea because a lot of the legal aid had stopped, and there's so many people out there. It is really, really, really traumatic, and at times, and you need somewhere to go. You need help, and there is very little out there. And it wasn't just that the autonomy hotline was providing a service, it was the type of service it was providing as well. It really appealed to me, and I thought it hit the spot really for helping people.
Thank you. And so you responded
Um,
to a little plea on
yeah,
Facebook. And is there a bit of a lag? Is there a bit of a lag on the time?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, there
okay.
is a
All
tiny
right.
bit of lag.
So I'll try and slow down and then just pause the responses and wait. Okay. So you responded to an advert that I put on Facebook, and then
Yeah,
um you sort of got stuck in, and I gave you a case. It was ended up being a little bit challenging at times. So you have this thing called the tea and biscuits, which seem to help. So I've got a cup of tea here, and I
yeah,
found some
yes,
biscuits
it
in the
does.
cupboard. So we're going to have tea and biscuits. Tina, tell me about tea and biscuits.
Right. Tea and biscuits was a strategy that I developed during my own court case, and I introduced it to my first client. My first client had a history of uh, with social services for many years, and the child had now become an adult and was in adult social care. And and when she came to us, the interactions during the time in adult social care had become a bit of a car crash, and she wasn't presenting well at all, and a lot of things were being said about it. I was speaking to the client, and she was obviously very upset and had a lot to say. And I introduced tea and biscuits. Now, tea and biscuits came about because whilst I was doing my own stuff, there was things being said about me that were not very nice at all, and I was having trouble managing that, as most of us do, and it was quite upsetting. And uh, I would I had a talk with someone who said you must not let those feelings be shown, um, because uh, because many of the people you will be speaking to have very have skilled interview techniques, and they are trained to recognize any emotion, any feeling, any animosity you might hold towards uh, the person you're speaking to, especially if they've written a negative report about you. And you must stop that. And the phrase was park it, put it aside. And so I came up with this the best way I could use that advice was tea and biscuits. So everything became hi tea and biscuits. So yes. I explained to my client what I meant by tea and biscuits. You don't show any negative. You invite them in. You go, "Hi, how are you? Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like biscuits?" You do it. You kind of present a positive environment, and no matter what is said to you, no matter how hurtful it is, you keep that smile on, and you go, "Oh, my client." In when we went to a meeting and things were being said which weren't very nice, and she went, "Oh really? Oh okay." And then she'd throw something positive forward, and so she kept this persona. It was like an anchor, because if somebody's saying something you don't like, um you can easily fall into an emotional reaction. So we'd organised it that no emotional reactions, no matter what they say, you keep smiling, and it sort of gives you a form of management over the situation, where instead of others managing, that you're actually the one who's managing the situation more. It gives a form of, I suppose, a form of positive control, in which it takes away your vulnerability in such situations as well, and it gives you an opportunity to be able to come back as well. And it tends to change the nature, the actual reaction you get off professionals, as much as everything, because they, even no matter what they're feeling or thinking, they have to respond it generally in a way that mirrors what you're doing. So it becomes, "Oh, tea and biscuits. Oh, that's wonderful. Very nice. Yes." And on the point of, and it also makes you seem more professional as well, and more like you've got a handle on things. I'm not really sure what to say or what I've missed.
No,
But it
that's fine.
works. It works.
Okay, I'll just wait for the lag to kind of settle down. Okay. Thank you, Tina. When I heard about the response that this client had had, I was really impressed, and I thought, yeah, this would be an interesting one to add to the last part of Anchor. Um, so, what sort of suggestions might we have for like a metaphorical tea and biscuits? Because sometimes you can offer a physical tea and biscuits. Would you like a cup of tea? And like you say, talk about the environment. But there are things that you can do that if you're in a really, really tight spot and you're thinking about resting in the storm, how you keep your persona positive. We talked a lot about language and how language really mattered in both parts 4 and 5 of the Anchor course, and how just a slight negative shift can make an impact across the board. But if you twist it to a positive shift, you keep that negativity at bay. And this is a really good strategy, I think, to ensure that you keep that negativity away. So tea and
Mm.
biscuits. Or if you're Sarah, who's not here today, it would be a coffee and cake. So what are the metaphorical tea and biscuits?
Yeah.
She doesn't drink tea, she has coffee. What are the metaphorical tea and biscuits or coffee and cake? For example, like you've just said, oh, that's really interesting. That's a really good one. Can we think of any more?
Yeah.
So we've got that's really interesting with a smile. Okay,
It's
take that on board. Thank you very much for your comment. Do you want to suggest some more?
yeah. Yeah, it's just using your manners. Please, thank you. Oh, that's such a good idea. Oh, you're wonderful. A bit of flattery always goes down well. So if there's anything positive said at all by the other party, you jump on it with a super positive, and that sort of cushions anything difficult you might have to put forward by doing these things. So you create a bubble of protection that comes across as positive. Uh, What else? Tea and biscuits. I mean, we did move on to singing from the same hymn sheet
That's a good
as
one.
another metaphorical term, you know. uh, but the client had said to me that this strategy it started being used in other ways which were nothing to do with her case. It was used uh, um, if she heard something that was quite ooh, gossipy, she'd go, she'd go, oh, tea and it'd get to a particular point in the conversation, she'd go, tea and biscuits. So, and
That is great.
she
I
was
love
using it in
it.
a variety of ways. It it was because it is really, really successful.
Yeah, it's
It's the
good.
best you can do. It's the best you can do in a very difficult set of circumstances.
Yeah. And I think what's really special is that, in all the anchor course and stuff, we're touching on very, very difficult topics, very negative, very traumatic, very, sensitive situations. We
Mm.
have everything, all sorts of types of abuse, domestic abuse, children that might be taken from
Mm.
one parent and put into the care of another. Very,
Mhm.
very difficult experience. How do you put a smile on that? And both of us are sat here and we've got smiles on our faces just thinking about how we turn this around with a very, very simple phrase, tea and
Yeah,
biscuits. Or, is there a case coffee
yeah,
and cake? Coffee and cake. Would you like a cup of coffee? I mean, it's so if you put it in your head and you use that imagination, it's so simple and so
yeah,
profound. That shift in from negativity to something positive in a very,
yeah,
very simple way. So thinking about social care meetings and stuff, and perhaps even the courtroom. Now, this is where you could be very difficult, very, very delicately done. But Amy Cullen was on the last anchor course, and she did a little section at the end of the Resting in the Storm video that we did. And she talked about having pauses and trying to create space for pauses. And I
yeah,
think if there's a very difficult moment and you're just waiting, like something is feeling like the world is imploding a little bit, you gather that pause that Amy created. So you like think about having a drink of water or just saying, I just need a moment,
yeah,
grab onto the tea and biscuits phrase, have a deep breath,
yeah,
and think, tea and biscuits in your head, tea and biscuits, tea and biscuits. Right. How
yeah,
can I create something that's a little bit more positive while the world is coming in at me? And you've got to
yes.
create that pause almost to think tea and biscuits so you're not reacting. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. Well, if you're under a great deal of stress and mental strain, it's very difficult to hold on to anything
Yeah,
at all.
agreed.
Although you don't have to put on big grins or anything
It'd be
like that.
inappropriate for the courtroom at least to do the big
Yeah.
smiles, but you could definitely think in your head something that takes you from that very negative space.
And tea and biscuits, keep it. It's a way of keeping still almost. It's a way of stopping all that stuff that you've got going on from bubbling up. It just keeps it a
Mm.
lid on it a little bit. And that was it. That goes right back to the advice at the beginning that we're in a situation where we're surrounded by trained professionals who are trained to see all this, and you've got to find some way of uh, putting it away in some way.
Mhm.
And that was one that was whilst under a lot of strain, that was the one thing that I was able to um, it was simple enough for me to keep hold of and actually present.
Thank you, Tina. I think that's really it for this section. So it's a very short, sharp video. Thank you for all your hard work on the hotline, and we look forward to seeing how Tea and Biscuits works for a number of other clients as well. And yeah, I just think
Mm.
that some of the ideas here Yeah, you got your tea. I've got my biscuits. So I'll
I'll wait
process the
until we
stuff.
finish to drink it though.
I meant to put some biscuits out. What we'd love from people watching this very short video, maybe put your ideas in the comments of what might be a really good idea of a tea and biscuits, but a metaphorical one that might work in a very difficult meeting or difficult court case. Maybe it's a best interest meeting for somebody that might be opposing medical treatment. It might be something like a courtroom. How do you bring in a very gentle, subtle tea and biscuits? What would that look like for you? So thank you very much for watching this video. And if you haven't seen the anchor course, I might put this one on for free on the YouTube videos that I've got. So you never know. But if you haven't seen the rest of the anchor course, it covers a lot of different strategies, a lot of different topics. It looks at how to get your data. It looks at how to keep language neutral, and lots and really good advice, and lots of ethical stuff that I throw in because my background was well, not background so much, but I recently came to philosophy and ethics, and I actually fell in love with it. And it creates language in a way that other subjects don't, and it's really fascinating. And it can really help shift a case. So I recommend Anchor for people going through a really difficult time. And yeah, that is it from me and Tina today. Thank you so much, Tina. I will see you all
Welcome.
soon.